طيب بسم الله. We are right now in the second part. Let me just start my watch. In the second part of the session that we're talking about chapter 10, organization, behavior and leadership, and this chapter about decision making in organization. Okay. Another important factor or aspect of this I have to finish here is when we talk about management, okay, practice, okay, and experience. Okay. And the management, when we talk about it, again, we have to think about the management as what? Process. And process always involve زي ما قلنا input, output, and a feedback. Okay? But management is nothing more than common sense. And this is to complete my diagram. And we'll go to the, again, experience and what? And practice. Very interesting. Right. So much for introduction. We'll talk, I hope you appreciate that. We'll talk right now about what? About slides of the decision making. What is it? يقول لك the process of making choices from among several alternatives. يعني you have several alternatives, you choose one of them. Okay? Now, this process, decision making process, consists of 8 steps. Identifying the problem, step 1. Step number 2, defining objectives. 3, making a pre-decisions قبل ما تصنع القرار. Generate alternatives. Evaluate alternatives. Make a choice. Implement choice. And then follow up. Identifying the problem, for example, insufficient fund to meet payroll obligation. I remember I was working as a group marketing director for one of the top companies here in Saudi Arabia, without giving names. And the director, he told me, Samir, I can't sleep at night because I have to provide each month 5 million Saudi riyal just payroll. مشكلة. Businessman, all of the time they should appreciate his position. يعني قال كيف انا اجيب 5 مليون شهريا؟ لازم يكون في البزنس عندنا شغال. طبعا business can consist of so many things. I might come to that if we have time just to discuss what type of business they have. Then you have to define objective. Insufficient funds to meet payroll obligation. هذا defining the problem. Defining objectives, increase cash flow. لازم يكون have to have increase cash flow. Make pre-decisions. Decide to solve this problem. Pre-decisions, okay? Now, and then 4, generate alternatives, which is raise the prices, lay off workers, or liquidate equipment, or liquidate some of your capital. مشكلة. It's a problem, okay? This is generate alternatives. Evaluate alternatives, hire prices may lower sales. If I put prices up, sales will go down. Okay, I will evaluate alternatives. Okay, laying off workers will slow production. If I get rid of some of the worker, production will be fast. It is not easy. You have this complex problem. Okay, make a choice. Decide to raise the prices slightly and sell excess inventory. I have inventory. I decided to sell some of them and raise just a little bit so that they don't feel it. Customer, okay? Then 7, implement the choice. Raise prices slightly and sell excess inventory. Okay? If a solution is found, funds available, okay? Otherwise, you follow up. For example, do I know I have sufficient fund or not? Maybe I don't. Maybe I have to go to. Then you follow up. You make sure this problem is being solved. Or if solution is not found, funds are still not available, you go to the first step again. Go to the bank. Now, it's interestingly enough, step 1, 2, 3, which is identifying the problem, defining objectives, and make a prediction. These are called formulation. Now, these 3 steps. The second 3 steps, which is generating alternative, evaluating alternatives, and making choices, these are called what? Consideration. Okay? Stage. The first 3 formulation stage, second 3 formulation stage, the last 2 اللي هي implementing choices and follow up. This is called what? Implementation. Okay? Now, understanding program. We talked about earlier our introduction, program versus non-program decisions. Okay? This is program decisions, non-program decisions. Depending on type of task. If it is simple and routine, they call it program. I wrote an example. If it is complex and creative, this is non-program decisions. Reliance on organization policies. To what extent I decide or I rely on policies. Okay? Manuals, procedures, or rules. Okay? If it is considerable guidance from past decisions, هذا ايش program decision. If no guidance from past decisions, this is non-program. كل non-program very challenging when you something that you have not tried before. Typical decision maker, صانع القرار. Okay? Lower level workers, usually alone, in non-program, the program decisions, you leave it to lower level, okay, workers, and if it is upper level, supervisor, usually in groups. Okay. A risk, we talked about the risk. With any decision you make, there are associated risks. Okay? And we have understanding the risk, اللي هو objective and subjective probabilities. Again, you go by numbers. Whenever to make better decisions, you should always rely on numbers. You should always rely on math. You should always rely on the dollar value. Okay? And reducing uncertainty in decisions. Okay? Therefore, it is very important to reduce the uncertainty when you make decisions. Reducing uncertainty, you establish linkage with other organizations. Look and try to see out of other people's experience, how did they do it, okay? And get as much information and statistics as you can to help you make better and professional decisions. Hello. top-down decision making versus empowered decision. شوفوا يا شباب. Top down. Upper level هنا depending on the level of the organization. Higher levels of the organization. This is lower level of organization. And this is top down. Top down decisions, upper level managers make decisions and impose them on lower level worker. هذا upper level and or A and upper level manager. They give order. Do it. I want you to do this. I want to. He just give orders. Okay. فالكنترول هنا فين؟ في upper positions. Empowered decisions. This is worker A, worker B, worker X, worker Y. You give them lower level workers make decisions for themselves, depending on the type of decisions. If it is routine, it's okay. مثلا if Saudi Airlines crew, ground crew, well, you tell them you just make your you make your schedule, you make your decisions. I don't care. I'm a supervisor or a manager as long as you agree on it. Versus in the يجي واحد somebody at the higher and he put somebody in the night shift, somebody morning shift, somebody and people are not satisfied. He leaves it for lower level, same way with operation in factories or in refineries, okay? There are certain things in the upper decisions, in the upper level of management and certain in the lower level of management, okay? But this is also important. Okay. Decision style, talked about it. Directive, analytical, conceptual, behavioral. Directive, give you direct order, okay? طريقته, authoritarian, okay? Prefer directive. Prefer simple, clear solution. Make decisions rapidly. Do not consider many alternatives. Rely on existing rule. كله يعتمد على الأنظمة والقوانين. This is the rules, okay? فهذا directive. والله النظام يقول كذا، النظام يقول كذا، okay? Analytical, prefer complex problem. حب. Carefully analyze alternatives. يحل الكل. Enjoy solving problem. يحب الماث، يحب الأكاونتينج، يحب okay? Willing to use innovative methods. Are willing إن إيش يستخدم طرق غير تقليدية. Innovative methods. الconceptual, this is socially oriented. دائما with the group, with the people, socially oriented, okay? Humanistic and artistic approach, you always care how people are going to benefit or they are not, okay? Okay? Interest, concern for their conceptual, socially oriented, humanistic and artistic approach, solve the problems creatively and enjoy new ideas. You always like new ideas, okay? Behavioral, concern for the organization, or what he cares about, organization, okay? Interest, he has also interest in helping others, open to suggestion and rely on meetings. You always get feedback from the meeting. What shall we do? What do you think? Okay. Okay. Group influence, potential benefits. If it is versus potential problem. Okay. Group influence. Group influence, if a group of people, okay, factors affecting the decisions, okay, this is the group influence versus the potential benefits versus potential problems, okay? Group influence can be positive or negative. Okay? Why? Variety of factors influencing organization that make it different or that make it difficult to predict benefits or problems actually occurs. Therefore, it's a matter of trade-off. This is where the group influence, pooling of resources. If it's a group, everybody come from different background. This engineers, electric, this accountant, this civil engineer, and they are pooling their sources of resources together. Specialization of labor, as I said, each one specializes in a different area, and greater acceptance because they feel in it's we that make the decision. And this is the potential benefit. Potential problem, wasted time. People say, oh, we just meet always, we just do that, okay? They feel their time is wasted. Disruptive conflict. Sometimes they can conflict. Each one has different way of thinking, okay? And then intimidation by group leader. Sometimes the group leader, he intimidate people. استفزازي. Okay? So this is a potential problem. طيب. That's why sometimes big companies fail because of these potential problems. Okay. Groupthink. What do we mean by groupthink? Groupthink يقول لك ايش؟ The tendency of members of highly cohesive groups to strongly conform to group pressure regarding a certain decisions that they fail to think critically. They don't do critical thinking. They see the consensus for the whole group and they say if the group thinks that's ish. That they fail to think critically or rejecting the potentially correcting influences of outsider. خلاص. They agree, the whole group agree upon that, they don't even accept the outsider. Groupthink, this what happened as a result. As a result, high level of group cohesion will result into pressure to go along with the group, even sometimes one or two people are not convinced, will like, I'll just go with the group. This will cause a reluctance to question the group decisions. Cannot dare. This guy, the whole group is about, okay? And this will antecedent processes. Symptoms, everybody said yes, okay? Illusion that decisions are unanimous. It looks like it's unanimous. Illusion, اللي هو ايش؟ وهم, خيال. But it's not. Belief, illusions that decisions are unanimous, believes that the group is inherently correct. This will lead you انك انت, since everybody is doing it, اكيد هم ايش they are correct. It's not necessarily ايش true. Defects, failure to consider all alternatives. They just go with whatever the group thinks, and they don't consider other alternatives. Reluctance to re-examine other options. خلاص, the group think this way, we'll do it this way, okay? This is what makes problem with companies, by the way, okay? Biased and incomplete use of information. They don't listen to any other alternatives or any other people from outside. ايش الريزلت؟ لا. They go down. Sales, company have problem, poor decisions. Okay, these are reasons why some companies make poor decisions. And we talk about organizational group influence, decision, organizational influence. Organizational influence, just I told you, in إنه sometimes you have technical solution, engineering solution, management solution, financial solution, but there are certain politics involved whenever you take a decision. And this is what we call political pressure. Time pressure, another important aspect. And especially for some discipline and some, like firefighters, they would like to save lives. Or medical doctor for emergency, they have to take quick decisions. Time is so pressure, okay? Because he's late, he might lose people's life. Like what's going on right now, okay? With the coronavirus. It is critical, and government's taking all the measures just to control it, and just time. It's very important. These 2 weeks is going to be very critical, so that inshallah, hopefully we are gonna, just like China, gonna go over it and then start declining, so that we can control the situation. Very important the timing whenever we make decisions. Okay. Right. Then we talked about the rational model. Okay. And I gave you idea حقت الراشنال اللي هي you don't do or you don't make decision out of your opinion or irrational. عشان متعجبني, I don't like you, I fire you. You can't do that for business. Okay? Your decisions has to be rational. What are the rational economic model? Okay, maximize chance of attaining goals. Consider all possible alternatives, select optimal solution, normative or prescriptive approach. I wanted to build a factory, I would like to build a building, there are certain rationale behind it, and there is certain procedure. Administrative model, okay, is bounds to rationality. The administrative most likely will go with the rational model, and satisfying decisions and bounded discretion, and disruptive or prescriptive approach. An administration, okay, model of decisions making that recognize that people have imperfect view of problems. نظرة الناس تختلف, differ from one person to other, okay, which limits the making of optimal rational economic definition. Satisfying decision, okay, this is decision made by selecting the first minimally acceptable alternative. I accept the first acceptable minimal alternative as it become available. Bounded rationality, this is where administrative model assumption of the administrative model that organization, social and human limitation lead to the making of satisfying rather than optimal decisions. Part of that, we have something called bounded discretion. Discretion, يقول لك I will not do anything unethical or illegal. The tendency to restrict decisions alternative to those that fall within prevailing ethical standards. ما تسوي شيء ما هو أخلاقي, not ethical. Okay? Image theory. Image theory, decision to adapt a course of action. For example, which job should I accept? أنا بتوظف. Which job should I accept? Stage 1. Okay, let's go ahead and give you the example first. And I think that's also a real example. Assume you live in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. You graduated from KFUPM, University of Pearl Mills, okay? And you got offer to work your finance major. You got offer to work fresh graduate but with high GPA, offer to work in a bank in Riyadh area. And that offer is 19 to 19,000 riyal. However, there is another bank in Jeddah that you would like to live because your family is there, gave you offer of what? 17,000. Which way would go? هذا هو. This is the situation. Would you rather go for a less salary in order to meet your certain objective? This is what we call, or would you go for a better? This person, he came and asked me for advice. I gave him the advice, and he worked in Jeddah, and he left also banking, and he is heading one of the biggest financial institutions in Saudi Arabia. Very interesting. And we'll bring him one time as a guest speaker. I don't want to say any names, okay? But again, what is the image theory says? إنك أنت you have certain image about yourself. Okay? You have certain image about yourself. Where do you see yourself? Okay? Just like that person who became the president of that oil company said at one point of time, I will. Where do you place yourself? For decisions to adopt a course of action, which job should I accept? Step 2, compatibility test. Does the job fits? Ask yourself if the information you have about the job options is consistent with image of yourself with respect to principles. هل تطابق مبادئك? Okay. Does it match my value? Goals? Will it take me where I want to go? I go in a program and this will take me. They have career program, they have career development, and the plans, beliefs about what will happen if you follow through. Or you will take a job with a higher salary but doesn't have bright future. Okay? All these. If yes, this all has been met, then a step 2 profitability test. Which job is best? Consider which of the several alternatives best coincides with your personal principles, goals, and the plans. Select that one. If you accept, خلاص, decide to. Or if this step 1 doesn't apply, then you reject. قول لا, I will not take the first job offer. وهذا الفلسفة موجودة in the United States. Usually you don't take the first job offer. يقول لك ها, even though it's so good. بس يقول لك ها, لا, wait for second job. Wait for second, okay? But it's very interesting, okay? Why wait for second so that you can compare? Now, this step 1 and 2 decisions frame, هذا الفريم اللي قلنا له, okay? Information about past success and failure, and the way. What advice I gave this boy or this graduate? I told him, go to the bank that gave you the higher salary. Get a written offer from them. Take it and go to the city that you wanted to in Jeddah and go to other bank, show them the offer. Tell them, what shall I do? They saw it, they want him, they gave him a raise, and he worked in Jeddah. Very interesting, okay? Individual decisions and imperfections. Framing facts. وقلنا احنا as a human, no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, you are imperfect because you are simply human. Imperfection, individual decisions, imperfection, this is what we call framing effect. Type of a framing, okay? Risky choices. We have negative framing and positive framing. And we have attribute framing, okay? And we have goal framing. Framing, you put yourself in a certain frame. You look at things in a certain frame, okay? Just like a picture. Now, risky choice framing, you try to avoid, okay, likelihood of taking risks. If it is avoid losses, life lost, تخسر ناس, كورونا, حريق, شيء, okay? فأنت, these are negative frames, okay? More likely to avoid losses. You avoid losing life. Positive framing, experience gain, okay? Life saved, less likely. This is positive framing. فأنت, anything you can frame it by saying, is this cup half empty or half full? This is the framing. And the way you look at it, it will affect your decision. Attribute framing, evaluation, okay? Negative qualities, 25% fat, negative, and positive qualities, 75% lean, positive. This is the example he put you in the book. He said, if you go to the supermarket and you find the meat and you would like to buy that meat, if they put on the meat 25% fat versus if they put 75% lean, which one will attract you more? The positive. اللي هو ايش؟ They always put يقول لك 75%, معناته انه في there are some fats but they don't say it. They said 75% lean. فأنت you most likely will buy it because of that. If they put this 25% fat, you say, oh no, it's gonna affect I'm not gonna buy it. So very interesting how people think and how they make the decision. Okay, goal framing, likelihood of performing exam for cancer for women. Okay, now negative framing, if you say suffer losses, no breast exam leads to decreased chance of finding early tumor, suffer loss. While the positive, experience gain, breast exam leads to increased chance of finding early tumor. يعني, you say, I'm not going to take that test because you assume if you take test, معناته إنه إيش, you might have a tumor. That's very interesting, okay? More likely, okay, when they make these type of exam. That depends on the way you present it, and also we're going to talk about how to present things, okay? Individual decisions, again, imperfections. We have something called the heuristic model. The heuristic is what? Rule of thumb. You make out of complex situation or problem, you just make rule of thumb and you try to what? To talk about it, okay? The heuristic, it is, طبعا because of my time, I can't go over the material, but I'll do my best, okay? I'm not going to go into third session, but I'll. The heuristic is simple decisions, rules of thumb, okay? Or general guidance, if you will, used to make quick decisions about complex problem. We have something called availability heuristic, okay? Versus representativeness heuristic. This is you, okay? But enter as a rule of thumb, you tend to immediately available information, you depend on them, and that's your rule of thumb, and you make decisions. And you avoid, or you don't have enough information, all relevant information that you didn't even consider it. عشان كده قلنا ايش؟ The information statistics are very, very important. For instance, you believe إنه group Y have certain characteristics Z, okay? But you observe that a person X is from group Y, صح؟ طيب. If this person he belong to that group, you assume person X have the same characteristic as what? As Z. But it's not necessarily true. Doesn't mean that if you belong to that group, you think same way they are. Very interesting. 35. We got 40 minutes. شو أسوي؟ Okay, we have what we call implicit individual decision based. We have implicit favorite, and we have hindsight. Okay. We have the implicit and we have the hindsight. Okay. Implicit favors, similar to the example I gave you about what? If a person will be working in Jeddah. He lived from Jeddah, but he studies in Dhahran, and he got job offer in Riyadh. Implicit favorite, sometimes you try to go to the first. Any job come from Jeddah, you will consider it before others, okay? Sometimes rule of thumb helps simplify complex problem. هذا يقول لك طبعا advantages حقتها. We have hindsight definition. If you have a feeling that you know it's going to happen. فأنت you told yourself, I told you it's going to happen. The difference between a hindsight, okay, will forecast, okay, the forecast will hindsight. The forecast, if you do something predicting the future, forecast. You told yourself, I want to have this type of a future, okay? I work so hard in order to reach that type of future. Had a forecast. I should do this right now in order to reach that future. In hindsight, you are here and you said, I wanted to become a manager with a big company. What shall I do right now in order to reach that objective? Hindsight. You assume a future situation and you told yourself, what shall I do right now in order to reach that type of future? Okay, this is hindsight. والإيش والforecast. Right. Individual decisions biases. We have person sensitivity. Okay. We talked about the biases that associated with any decisions. If a person have negative outcome, this will lead to very negative judgment made. If he has positive outcome, he will have also very positive judgment made. The object itself, and a person object, if the object have negative outcome, then you have negative judgment made. خلاص تقول هذا الشيء باطل, it's not good, عطلان, ما بقول, okay? Or if it is positive outcome, you have positive judgment made. Okay. We have individual decision biases. What type of biases? Individual decision biases, we have something called escalation of commitment. Assume you made wrong decision. Okay, this is in the past, over the time. And your decision X, negative, decision over the time, another decision negative, another, until you reach a point, this is called escalation of commitment, this is the outcome, okay? You would like to comment, probably to save your face, صح? To save your face, well, I didn't make a wrong decision, okay? هنا escalation of commitment through or throw good money after bad. You put more money in order to justify previous made decisions. يقول لا, decision was good. You just keep putting money and you lose. Okay? هنا you reach a point where give up, cut losses. يا أخي اعترف, for God's sake. يقول I made bad. Do we have people like this? Yes, we have people committed to شو اسمه والديسيجن حقه خطأ and ود الشركة في كارثة. Now, sometimes a situation prevail, force him what? And he has to stop. Consider condition under which escalation of commitment is unlikely. Limited resources, man. He doesn't have enough resources. Okay. Overwhelming evidence of negative outcome. يا أخي, for God's sake, شوف يعني where are going. شركة بتخسر. Okay. Overwhelming. Or diffuse responsibility for previous decisions. Okay. Or total investment is expected to exceed gain. This is the. It is very, very interesting. This is escalation. Do we have it? Yes, we do have it. Some people like that. Some people are stubborn. Some people just like that, and escalation called escalation of commitment. Okay. We have group versus individual decisions. If it's a complex problem, sometimes you would like to have a group contributed to that to gain their support. Why? Again, group members are heterogeneous. مهندس, we have electrician, we have electric engineer, we have civil engineer, project manager, we have accountant, we have finance. Okay, members have complementary skill. They complement each other. Okay, good ideas are accepted, and then we have a group are superior to even the best individuals. If it's a simple problem, does anybody or anyone in the group have the correct answer? And will the group members accept the correct answer? If no, group performance worse than the best individual. If yes, the whole group performance, okay, as well as the best individual. Brainstorming. I have to talk to you about brainstorming because brainstorming is, there is a situation, طبعا احنا we have two situations. If the group influence the decisions or if the people, individuals, okay? Or if the individual, when our group superior to individuals, okay? And when our individuals are superior to group, العكس. And this is the example, is the brainstorming. Brainstorming, okay, defined as a technique designed to foster group productivities by encouraging interacting group members to express their ideas in a non-critical fashion. And it requires 4 rules when you do brainstorming. Avoid criticizing other ideas. Share even far out suggestions. Offer as many comments as possible. وبعدين build on other ideas to create your own. And the brainstorming, okay, to be effective depends on type of business, okay, you do it. You do the brainstorming once a month, not more than that. Session, each session should be 1 hour or less. Focus on the problem, build and jump to the ideas, to other ideas, okay? And prepare for the session. Lots of people mistakenly or they think, no, خلاص, just by being there, get ideas, I'm prepared. You are not. You should sit there before the session and think of what you want from those people. Do not limit yourself to the words. Use props. What are the skeleton? What you want to get out of them? Techniques for using for improving effectiveness of decisions. We have what we call training individuals to improve group performance. Hypervigilance, and we have unconflicted adherence, and we have unconflicted change, and we have defensive avoidance. What do you mean by those? Hypervigilance, when individual search for a quick solution to problem. Hyper, okay? And goes from one idea to another out of a sense of desperation that one idea is not working and that another needs to be considered before the time runs out. كله مستعجل. What do you think? No, it's not. What do you think? Okay. And you start, he just would like to grab one idea that will solve the problem. هاي يسمونها hypervigilance. And conflicted adherence. This is when decision maker are stick to the first idea. The first idea, he just takes it. He sticks to that. Therefore, it's very important who give that first idea. Very important that person who will present. It's very important. He usually he will influence the opinion very much. And conflicted change, tendency for people to quick change their minds and adopt the first new idea to come along. اللي هو shifting their minds and adopting the first. Some people like that, and adopting the new idea. We have defensive avoidance, okay, and this is when decision maker fail to solve the problems because they go out of their way to avoid working on problems at hand. He's already very busy. There's so many problems. From my last session, he said out of 8 hours, he attended 6 hours all meeting. He's so busy, يا أخي. And he only worked for 2 hours. I go, how you expect a person like that to be efficient? You have to enter. فهو he always busy, and sometimes this by itself is a problem. And you have to know what type of organization that you have. Okay? Now, we have technique for enhancing group decisions, اللي هو ايش الدلفاي technique. Delphi technique is very famous, where you present the problem, enlist the cooperation of experts. I bring person from KFUPM, King Abdulaziz University, Kingston University, from Aramco, from Skiko, from Civil Defense. Okay. Process the problem to experts. You send them questionnaire. What do you think of this problem? Expert record solution and recommendation. They don't meet. We're like, okay, you do this, you do that, you do that. By the way, I am member of task force for this B20 that's going to take place in Saudi Arabia for the in November, and we hold this kind of thing. They send us, we don't meet. Only we met one time in Riyadh, but even we had another meeting in the United States, and they said because of the corona, it's going to be all virtual. But again, Delphi, they don't meet. Okay? Now, experts record their solution, okay? And I am for the future of education. Expert response are compiled and reproduced. You compile, جمعهم, and reproduce, okay? Then response are, you take second round, shared with all others. You send it, يقول لهم والله Dr. Dabbagh said that, Dr. Ansari said that, Dr. Samir Hamad said that. Okay. This is a person, a big guy. He used to be at director of RI. He used to be Ma'adin director. He used to be Ansari director. Then maybe they have a point, and this will influence my recommendation. I said, oh, no, probably I would agree with. Okay, and this is the second round. Okay, then expert comments on others' ideas, propose a solution, and then solution, usually for Delphi, they take 3 rounds until consensus is being done, until you got a solution. If a consensus is reached, then you have a solution, okay? This is called Delphi technique. We have another technique, they call it NGT, which is nominal group techniques, where a small group gathers around the table, face to face, okay? Receives instructions, problem is identified, then participants privately write down ideas about the solution. They do it, write down, okay? Each participant's ideas are presented one at a time. Each one will like, what do you think? Then next one, the next one, okay? One at a time, and are written on a chart until all ideas are expressed. Each idea is discussed. What do you think? Each idea, okay? Clarified and evaluated by the group members. Each one evaluate all other ideas. Participants privately rank the ideas. Nobody knows. Tell me what you think. Number 1, number 9, number 10, okay? Rank them, okay? Participants privately rank the ideas in order of their preference. And then the highest ranking idea is taken as the group's decision. This is called nominal group techniques, okay? NGT. We have, last but not least, another technique for enhancing a group decision. They call it step ladder technique. Step ladder, number 1, a person, individual decision by person A, and then he joined by another person B, individual decision by B, and second step, person A and B, tentative group decisions made by them. Then you add another person C. In the third stage, tentative group decision made by A, B, or C, okay? And then D until fourth, until you have a final group decision made by A, B, C, or D. But this is as you go along. Why is doing that? Because a person will not have pre-assumption. First, 2 people sit together, but they bring. What do you think? He came as fresh. Then 3, then 4. What do you think? He was not involved in the discussion, so that he comes with fresh ideas and new thoughts. Okay. Okay. Effective decisions, computer-based approach, electronic meeting systems, group decision support system. Okay. Group, very nice. Okay. If you are trying just the group GDSS, which is a group, they call it group decision support system. Now they use lots of computer aids. طبعا ايش الايديا والادفانتج؟ انك انت you focus them to go over the material and a term of questionnaire, and they will guide decisions. Okay. GDSS, which is Group Decision Support System, helps meeting stay focused and participants avoid overload because the software directs the flow of information. GDSS, Group Decision Support System sessions, allows the appropriate expert to contribute to meeting at their convenience, even though they may be far away, instead of receiving input only from those who physically can attend the meeting. يعني أنا first meeting that we attend for Riyadh for this B20, people from Italy, people from France, from United States, Canada, Australia. This is a big event for Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is hosting that, and I have been actually chose because I was a member of International Chamber of Commerce, and they chose me because also I'm from KFUPM, and I was in the task force, and it was overwhelming. Something huge, big, some businessmen and some people, but so many people participate. Right now we are holding meetings كلها through this support system, through the virtual, okay? And people from you have to review and you have to go over it so that about the future of education, for the whole world. Notice for the whole world, okay, we are talking about it. It's very interesting, and I have time to talk about it. But people questioning, why university takes 4 years? Why master take 2 years? Why doctorate take 4 years? Why elementary school takes 6 years? Why? It's very interesting because now technology is changing, and they are just going through so many changes for the learning and education process. Thank you very much, and I thank you for that. As I promised you, I'm going to take you with my camera through this material so that you will have it also as well. Alhamdulillah, مع البطارية was doing well. Okay. First, I will take you through this one so that you know what is done. Okay. Alhamdulillah. This is, it's mashallah, it's amtar. Okay. Wow, it is amtar, wallah, okay. And this is you can capture these if you can. Okay, this is the first diagram, and this is the second diagram. I'll go over them. I'll send you and this is the third diagram, and this is the last diagram. Thank you very much, and you have a good day, and we'll meet this evening to discuss this.